up, Seattle Sports Nation? It's the guys from the Seattle Sports Soup here, Jackson Marshall. Sorry, it's been a little while since our last podcast, but we've been busy with all the sports action.
It's time to get turned up on this podcast, boy.
We're going to start off with the Seahawks opening week of the NFL season coming up. Hawks play on Sunday at the Panthers.
10 a.m. start. You know how well those have done for the Seahawks over the past years. But I also saw that the Seahawks have been starting practice earlier to prepare for that early start time of 10 a.m. So we'll see how much that actually helps out.
Yeah, it would be good. Definitely good. Obviously good to start out with the win, but especially on the road where historically the Pete Carroll's teams have struggled on the road. And if we're going to be an elite team like everyone hopes, we definitely need to perform better on the road than we did last year. So I think, especially against a team like the Panthers, who had like 6 wins last year, I think the Panthers will be better than that this year, and I think their defense is pretty good. But I do think that we need to get a win on Sunday, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important to get the season off on the right foot, especially with all the 3 main injuries with Clemens, Averill, and Harvin. Improve that we're still an elite team without those 3 players, but Clemens is cleared to practice this week on Wednesday, especially, but he will be held out of Sunday's game. But he might be ready for the home opener against the Niners,
which I have tickets to now. Super pumped! Going to be a great game. But yeah, talking about those injuries, Clemens is practicing. Averill is not going to be playing in the game. Harvin was put on the PUP list, which means he cannot be back until
physically unable to perform.
Right, for those who don't know. He's out for the first 6 weeks at least. And also, so this week, not going to have Averill, Clemens, or Bruce Irvin, who's going to be serving his suspension.
Irvin, I didn't even think of Irvin.
So we'll have to see how the pass rush goes without those 3 guys. I'm hoping Michael Bennett can make a big impact. He's one of my favorite guys on the defensive line. One of the new guys too. So
yeah, he was recently injured, but he came back, so he's all good now. I think I heard Bennett say something. I read it somewhere that he just thought it would be scary for offensive lines and quarterbacks when Irvin, himself, Averill, and Clemens are all.
Oh yeah, when we're fully healthy, it's gonna be crazy.
Just rushing the quarterback to hopefully improve the lackluster pass rush of last year.
Absolutely. And so this year, one of the interesting things to see is going to be how the offense performs with, hopefully Russell Wilson continues to progress, but are we going to see more of the same with like 60% runs? Are we going to see more of what we saw in the second half of the season with more read option style? Are we going to open up the offense a little bit more? And because last year we really sort of eased into it with Russell Wilson in the first half of the season, are we going to be, because last year in the second half of the year we averaged over 30 points a game and one of the top offenses. Are we going to see a lot more of that? Going to be more high flying? It's going to be really interesting to see what approach the offense takes.
What do you think the keys for this team and year are?
For this whole year, I think health is a big one, just because we're not healthy right now, and I think if we can have the main pieces stay healthy, like Okung, Russell, and Lynch on the offensive side, and guys like Sherman on the defensive side. But I think establishing their identity on both sides of the ball. I do think that although Russell Wilson's going to be, I think he'll continue to progress. I think we need to maintain that identity of a running team, be able to pound the ball. I think, and then on defense, I think the pass rush is going to be a big one because obviously our defensive backfield is one of the best in the game, and I like our linebacking core. We'll just see how the pass rush is able to work. What about you?
I would say the main key for me is the linebacker play. You obviously have the good secondary. The defensive line, when healthy, is going to be one of the best in the game. But the linebackers, we'll see if Bobby Wagner can improve off his rookie year. KJ Wright can remain steady heading into his 3rd year. And if Mike Morgan or whoever else is playing at the outside linebacker spot, maybe even Alan Bradford, maybe they can step up big time. So that's something to watch for me. For offense, I'd say who's going to step up as the number 4 wide receiver when Percy Harvin's gone could be Stephen Williams. Obviously, you have Golden Tate, Doug Baldwin, and Sidney Rice already right now. But Stephen Williams has been looking good in the preseason, so we'll see if he has a connection with Russell Wilson. So those are my keys for the season. For a win prediction, I would have to say I'd see the Seahawks going 12-4. There's four matchups that I could possibly see them losing. I know the Texans, they'll lose one Niners game, I think. The Colts is a tough game, but I think they'll pull that off. I'm trying to think off the top.
Saints and the Giants are a couple
Yeah, those
we play
might
the
be
Saints,
tough.
the Niners, and the Giants in 3 straight games, so I don't expect us to win all 3 of those. Talking about the linebacker play like you were talking about, I think that that really sort of got exposed in the playoff game against Atlanta, where Michael Turner, who's really starting to slow down, obviously he's not even on a roster right now, he sort of ran through us. And I think
Gonzalez was consistently open too.
Yeah, so I think if we can get some better coverage against tight ends and get the linebackers to work on that run game, I think our defense should be towards the best in the league once again. Yeah, for a win prediction in my schedule analysis article that I wrote when the schedules came out, I'm fairly certain I said 13-3, might have been 12-4, but I think I'm going to stick to my 13 win prediction. That'd be 2 more than last year.
Yeah, I could easily see them going 13-3 too.
So hopefully they can continue and be that good. I think 11, 12, or 13 wins is good. I think getting home field advantage for the playoffs, getting a home playoff game is going to be really important.
Would just be killer
because obviously having to go on the road like last year, and obviously with our team being better at home, a home playoff game would mean a lot to this team and to this city. And we all know last time we had a home playoff game, taking down the Saints. So
yep.
I think the team is capable of doing it, and I really think they will do it. So we'll see how the Hawks go on this Sunday against the Panthers.
All right, so we're going to move on to some Huskies talk now. Obviously, the huge win for the Huskies against Boise State. Very solid effort from the Huskies, not so solid effort from Boise State. I think it was more of a great day for the Huskies instead of a super bad day for Boise State. I think the Huskies have kind of stepped up to the next level over last year, of course. And they just debuted today in the AP poll at number 20, number 23 in the coaches poll, and
it's huge.
Number 18 in the ESPN Power Rankings for what that's worth. But obviously a huge weekend debuting the new stadium is beautiful. Perfect day for it. Great setting. Obviously a ton of boats in the harbor. It was awesome experience. If you didn't go, you should be sad you missed it.
I wasn't there, but I got to watch the game, and it was really an impressive win on both sides of the ball. We really sort of shut down their offense. Although their running game moved through us pretty well, which is one concern I have going forward, the run defense, because they sort of gashed us. Going against teams like Oregon and Stanford, who are going to be good teams running the ball. We'll see how we do against teams like that. But I was really impressed with the team as a whole. Keith Price's first pass, the interception, was just bad. Whether it was communication, bad throw.
After that throw, I wasn't even worried. Actually,
he was flawless after that throw. He was unstoppable.
Even right after the interception, I was like,
yeah,
I bet he'll turn around.
I've been saying the entire offseason that I think Price is really going to bounce back. The offensive line played really, really well, which I think is a key because obviously last year that was a huge problem and a big reason for the struggles for Keith Price.
First time he threw for 300 yards in over a season.
That's crazy.
Since 2011.
That's absolutely nuts. So Price obviously played well, and a breakout star that he obviously was not new to the team, but Mickens is a guy. He played super well. He was catching a lot of balls in space with the fast-paced offense. They got the ball to him really quickly a lot, which allowed him to use his speed to get by guys, and he was really making plays all over the field.
I like the swing motion plays where he comes in motion behind the running back and Keith Price, swings out to the right. That's kind of like a triple option play. You can just pass it to Mickens, hand it off to the running back, or do a play action and throw it downfield or again to Mickens. So I think that play was very effective for the Huskies, and I think they used that mainly because ASJ wasn't in the lineup. They didn't really have that huge threat down the seams, though Keith Price did miss Michael Hartvigsson and John Ross deep a couple of times, which would have resulted in touchdowns.
John Ross, another guy that played really, really well, and I was really glad to see that. But talking about Safarian Jenkins, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the offense differs from week 1 to week 2 once he comes back. Because obviously it's not going to be the same. We're going to try to get the tight ends more involved.
I think that'll be really hard to judge, though, since Illinois is
true.
just not a good team.
Yeah.
And especially against Idaho State. You might see the first true test against Arizona, but then when it really comes, then they travel down to Palo Alto and play Stanford.
That's going to be a...
And then Oregon the next week, and then Arizona State. That's a killer row right there.
That's definitely
That'll be the most important stretch for the Huskies this year, and we'll find out what kind of team the Huskies truly are during that 3-game stretch.
But Bishop Sankey obviously continues to just be unstoppable. I mean, a couple scores, $150 plus. He is just a man right now. He's a man amongst boys, and he's unstoppable. I've been saying sort of quietly for a little while now, for most of the offseason, that I think with a good season from the Huskies, maybe if they can get double-digit wins, Sankey will absolutely have a chance to be a Heisman finalist.
Double-digit wins would mean 10-2 because I think they lose at least 2 games this season. So
if they could get to that double-digit plateau, then Sankey has a real shot to be a Heisman finalist because historically Heisman finalists have been on good teams, and so I think if we can get to that double-digit win plateau, that Bishop Sankey has a real chance to be a Heisman finalist.
Do you know
he obviously has the numbers to back it up.
Leading rusher for week 1?
I don't know. He had a $150 plus and 2 touchdowns. So
yeah, he rushed for like 161 or 162.
He's obviously got off to a good start. If he can keep up numbers similar to that, obviously doesn't need 2 touchdowns every game.
I think he'll get huge numbers against Illinois and Idaho State, and he'll have at least 500 rushing yards heading into Arizona after 3 games. So that'd be huge.
Yeah. One thing I was a little bit surprised though is that, I guess with the fast-paced offense, they're trying to spread the ball out. But Casey Williams wasn't that involved. I mean, he did catch some key balls and caught some deep ones, but he wasn't nearly as involved as I expected him to be, especially with Safarian Jenkins out.
Yeah, it was just getting into the flow of the offense. I know they were using Ross and Mickens effectively. Keith was still... That's Kaysen said post-game, that he knows Keith will get him the ball eventually, and that... He was just Keith. The whole team was just kind of seeing how the offense flowed during the first game. They were using it. I don't think either team huddled the whole game. So obviously there's a fast pace, but I think Kaysen will get more involved as time goes on. I mean, you got 5 legit targets in ASJ, Kaysen, Mickens, John Ross, Kevin Smith. And then you also have DeAndre Campbell, DeMaurier Stringfellow, Daryl Daniels could get in there and play. So you got a ton of targets for Keith Price. And I think that'll also help him out this year because he has better targets than last year.
For sure. And I think that the Huskies really proved that they're here to make a statement after a down season last year. And they're really trying to improve and continue and build and get more wins than last year and make it a successful season. Here's a question, Marshall. How many wins do you think it takes to consider this season a successful one?
For this year, I gotta say 9. 9, maybe 8 in the regular season. I think 9 in the regular season and then 10 with the bowl game. But 8, 9, or 10, mainly 9 or 10 would be a successful season for the Huskies.
Absolutely.
So I think that's it for the Huskies, and we'll move on to a toss-up section.
Okay, so for our first toss-up, we're going to stay on the Huskies. Marshall, toss up double-digit or single-digit wins for the Huskies this year. We'll go after...
I kind of already mentioned this in the last section.
We'll go...
This is the dumbest toss-up you could have made.
No, you said that's what makes the season a success, but your prediction,
okay.
Double or single-digit wins for the Huskies this year?
I'll go with single-digit wins. I got to go with 9 for the Huskies. Maybe 10.
Is that 9? Is that your prediction? 9 wins for the regular season?
I gotta say 9 for the regular season, could go 10 in the bowl game.
I'll have to agree with you. I think 9 is going to be a number. If they could, 10 would be a really impressive. If they could get 10 wins in the regular season, that would be unbelievable. But I think 9 is probably the number with 10 in the bowl game. I'll agree with you right on that one. Next up, more or less wins for the Hawks than last year. Last year they had 11.
Easily more.
How many
easily
more? You said you put your prediction at 12 and 40.
One or two more.
That's not easily. I mean, one more. All
right,
that's fair. Yeah, I said 13, so I'll say more obviously as well. Next up, we'll stay on the Hawks. Russell Wilson last year set the NFL rookie record for passing touchdowns with 26.
He tied it with Manning.
You're right.
Manning had 26.
He tied the rookie record with 26 passing touchdowns. Yeah,
except he ran it in last time.
He tied the rookie record with 26 passing touchdowns, so Do you think he has more or less than that this year?
I think Russell will have more passing and more rushing touchdowns this year because they held him back the beginning of last year, and I think with a full year he could see maybe even 30 touchdowns, even more on the ground, maybe 6, 7 on the ground. Who knows? But I think he's going to be just a huge weapon this year in the offense.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll have more rushing touchdowns because I expect more of the read option like in the second half of the season. But for passing touchdowns, I'm not sure. He might get more, but I don't think it's going to be by very much. I think they're still going to maintain that identity as a running team. And I think where he will really see an uptick in production will be in the running game because we'll do stuff more similar to the second half of the season where there was a lot more read option and stuff like that, which gives the quarterback a better chance to run. Okay, and for our final toss-up, let's stay on the Seahawks. 1,500 yards from Marshawn Lynch, more or less?
I'm going with less. I don't think he'll have as good of a year as last year. I think he's slowly going downhill.
Wow. Okay.
With Kristen Michael obviously being in the air to him. But I think Kristen Michael's going to be really good for what it's worth. But yeah, Marshawn, I don't see him having as good as a year as last year. Obviously, could be wrong. Yeah, I also have another toss-up question after you ask this one.
All right. Yeah, not Kristen Michael, Marshawn Lynch. 1,500, I'm going to say, we're agreeing on all these today. I'm going to say less as well. I don't think it's a lot less because I think he still has a monster year. But I think with Robert Turbin and now adding Kristen Michael, plus more zone read, which will allow the quarterback to rush the ball a little bit more, I think Marshawn Lynch is going to have a slightly down season. I don't see him really going downhill much so far. And I think the goal line, I think the touchdowns will still be a really high number. Mm-hmm. I say slightly less than 1,500. What I am interested to see, though, is how they use Kristen Michael as compared to Robert Turbin. Because the running backs coach has been saying, Sherman Smith has been basically in love with Robert Turbin and saying he's not as big a fan of Kristen Michael. But Michael played so well in the preseason, I don't know how you can keep him off the field. Some are saying that he won't even make the game day roster if he doesn't play special teams.
Yeah, he's not going to play special teams.
And he played so well in the preseason, I don't know how you can keep him off the field. So that's going to be something interesting to look out for.
My last toss-up question is Marshawn Lynch the best or the second best running back in the NFL? Because I saw on, where was it? I saw on somewhere, like Rant Sports or something, that they said Marshawn was the second best true running back in the NFL. I don't think he is. I think Doug Martin is the second best in the NFL right now.
That's bold. He's a young gun. I don't know. I definitely don't think it's Alfred Morris, who is second in the league in rushing yards. I think Doug Martin is a good potential guy who could take him. Who else? Foster, when healthy, is pretty good. Foster's pretty dang good when he's healthy.
There's also like Jamal Charles and Ray Rice.
Ray Rice,
I wouldn't consider a true running back. He's more of like a pass catching.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I mean, he is a true running back for their purposes.
Marshawn is the true running back.
Yeah, if I had to say who the second best running back in the NFL is,
it's a tough one.
I know Doug Martin might get that title because he's so good overall. He's so good out of the backfield as well. While Lynch, I think, is good out of the backfield. And I think the screen pass to Lynch is a little bit underused, but I think probably I might have to agree with you, Doug Martin, for that.
Yeah. I feel like Doug Martin's becoming a miniature Ray Rice too.
Yeah. I definitely see that. They're both good out of the backfield. Both good at the goal line for guys their size. Mm-hmm. I think they're becoming phenoms.
I guess we'll see this year. That wraps it up for toss-up section.
All right, our final topic of the day is going to be the Seattle Mariners. They've been in a bit of a holding pattern recently, not being able to get much going in either direction. They'll go on a little 3 or 4 game losing streak, then they'll win 3 in a row, or win a 2 out of 3. It's really hard to tell. They're not making all that much progress, which is not what we like to see.
Yeah, they always win one and lose one, and it's just so inconsistent with the Mariners.
They haven't been able to really put anything together, which is really a shame. But the good news is Taijuan Walker made his
positive.
Taijuan Walker made his MLB debut and pitched great. Went 5 innings, 75 or 70-something pitches. His first major league win. He got a lot of run support, which he should not expect to continue with the Seattle Mariners.
The big man with the tattoos and the crazy hair. He just looks like a baller. His whole family was in attendance.
97 on the fastball. I mean, he's He's dialed in. Some of the pitches that he throws are just dirty good.
Yeah,
His
curveball.
He looks
nice.
Oh, he looks so sick.
His motion. What'd you say about his motion?
His motion is a little slow. He starts it out, only takes 4 steps or something like that.
I think it's okay.
It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
But
it works for him at least.
Yeah,
whatever works.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm going against his motion. He's pitching great, and it's good to see that has the potential at least to pan out to what everyone hoped he would be. It's a potential future ace. And next year with Felix Iwakuma and Taiwan Walker at the top of the rotation, should definitely be much stronger.
Yeah, that should be really strong. Maybe in spring training, if Paxton or Holton emerges, that would be really helpful for the Mariners. Where's Bevan? Bevan's in AAA, just
I don't know what he's
getting shelled.
As always with Blake Bevan.
But there's some good young talent on this Mariners team with Franklin and Miller.
I love
Almonte.
Yeah, Abraham Almonte.
Abraham!
Speed demon out there in the outfield. But yeah, I think the infield has got some potential for the future. Franklin needs to cut down the strikeouts, get the average up. Smoke needs to get some consistency. But I like Brad Miller. I obviously love Kyle Seager.
It'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason, see if they go after any hitters. I think there's some solid hitters. I think there's better pitchers, though. But the Mariners don't really need that much pitching. But we'll see what they do this offseason, see if they can head into next year with a positive outlook for once, maybe.
Yeah, talking about the free agent and the open market and stuff, I was surprised when management decided not to trade Ibanez, not to trade Morris at the deadline. Obviously, Morris did get claimed on waivers. And not to trade Morales.
You think he'll
I thought we should re-sign him. I think...
they said
considering not trading him, now you have to resign him.
They said they'll have exclusive negotiating rights with him after the season. There's a little window for it.
Yeah, so I think when we decided not to do that, the idea was to make it a respectable finish to the season, maybe go 500 from then on. But I thought it was a mistake at the time, and it's obviously not panned out because we have gone well under 500 since that point. And any chance of a respectable season, maybe a late playoff push like some were hoping, has really gone down the toilet. Because Raul has hit 1 home run since the All-Star break. Morris, obviously, he's gone now. He's been not doing well at all. I mean, I don't know why we didn't trade those guys. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me then, and it still doesn't make any sense to me now.
Yep, so I think that's it for the Mariners.
Oh, except one more thing. Obviously, it's only negatives with the Mariners. Felix had to leave his last start with a back pain.
He was Cy Young favorite before that past start, 2 starts ago. Where he gave 9 runs.
That's so brutal.
Oh, my
so brutal.
goodness.
Maybe that was because of the back injury. I don't know, but it's the second or third time this year he's had back problems. So hopefully that doesn't become a recurring thing, and he can... At this point, I just want him to be healthy for next year because he's probably lost to Cy Young with the last couple starts.
Yep.
So I really just want him to be healthy for next year. We'll see. I think the Mariners have a chance. They got some upside in the infield. I think Saunders has showed that some good potential this year. He sort of turned it on a little bit.
Yeah.
I really am hopeful about the Mariners for the future, but we'll see. It is at times. They got some good young guys obviously on the mound and in the infield. Another young guy I like is Danny Farquhar in the closing role. I think he is smooth. He has some dirty stuff. The curveball's dirty. Fastball's got some zip. I think he is a potentially really good closer for the future. And I heard a couple of baseball analysts say that he could potentially be talent-wise like a top 5 closer already, which I think is I don't know if I'd say that, but obviously is regarded.
Closers don't matter when you can't score runs.
That's true, I guess. He's regarded around the league as a pretty good young closer. So hopefully he can keep it up and continue to grow. I think that's all we got for the Mariners. So we're going to close out our show with our annual our shout-outs.
Annual?
I don't know, not annual. our every show shout-out. My shout-out is going to be to Kenbrell Tompkins, undrafted free agent receiver for the New England Patriots. Going to have a monster year, and he's going to work with Tommy Brady to get us back to the Super Bowl.
No, you're not getting the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we are.
$10.
$10 right now, officially. Super Bowl
no way.
Patriots.
No way.
Man.
I'm liking the Broncos there.
Broncos, they have no defense. Von Miller and Demerville are both gone.
Miller will be back.
Patriots, baby.
Fine.
Super Bowl.
My shout-out goes to Justin Wilcox, the Huskies defensive coordinator. Called a great game on Saturday night. I don't think he'll be in Seattle for long, and he'll be the head coach somewhere else soon. So, shout out to Justin, and also shout out to our the two new blogs in our Sports Soup network, Atlanta Sports Soup and San Francisco Sports Soup. Make sure to go check those out.
They're really
good
awesome
writers.
There are some great writers there. And so that's all we got for the show tonight. Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Seattle Sports Soup. Go tell your friends. Thanks for listening.